Once again starting in the red for MVP to the top right of Entombed Valley, taking down 2 players of OGS already. We have
MVP Monster!
Playing very well so far. Definitely on a roll, and his opponent is starting cross position on a map that favors Protoss quite a bit. Not a map that Zergs like. To the bottom left we have in the blue
oGs-TL Inca!
a little bit of surprise to see him here against a Zerg player. Wolf mentioned that Inca is a boss against Protoss.
He's decent against Terran, so...
Yeah, he has 70% win ratio against Protoss, he has 50% win ratio against Terran, but only 35 against Zerg. He lost 26 matches and only won 14, so a little bit of a choice that we did not really expect.
I think it's a gambling move. I think the idea here is, well, Inca's actually getting into the other races. I have a specific builder for Entombed Valley, and if he can win on Entombed Valley, then they have to send out a Terran, perhaps, or a Protoss. They could send out another Zerg, but that might not be what they want to do ideally, so it forces perhaps another Zerg after this, which is not what MVP necessarily wanted to do. I think that's the idea here.
The other thing that we always have to keep in mind is that in the Team League there is, especially with a team with MVP, you always have like 1 or 2 superstars in one team that you have to beat somehow. So there is still Don Ragu looming in the background, and you have to have some kind of idea how to take him down. And Kiro might be one of those players that has been training in order to face Don Ragu later.
Now there's a pylon block here, and he's just going to go for the third. Deletes his own Nexus as a result.
But I find it a little bit odd to go for that. Well, in my opinion, my personal opinion on Entombed Valley against Protoss, it's a little bit of a problem if you go for the third, because it's really hard to defend against, for example, gateway openings. And the main problem is those rocks between the second and the third base. So if you have to defend your third base against, for example, gateway units, you have to walk with your queens the whole way down the ramp at the second base and across, not half the map, but a huge way. And this is a little bit odd. I think this is very vulnerable.
Yeah, it's a fairly risky choice. I would completely agree.
And we already have the probe hiding to the left side of the map.
Yeah, there are Zerglings going to try to find it though.
Yeah, they will.
And you know, we just saw Monster show excellent scouting and thoroughness. It looks like his path here though may just barely miss the probe.
It actually might. You're right.
That probe seems to be in like too obvious of a place, so that's why he didn't click on that corner. You know what I mean? Like it's under the tree and everything over on the right side. It's where you would expect to find your Christmas presents in the morning, and also a probe. But yeah, he barely missed it, so the probe will remain. Now we'll see if he plans on following this up with a Forge, you know, like a +1 4 Zealot warp-in timing attack at the third. He's actually going to move the probe forward now. A bit of an odd choice. He wants to show his hand right away.
And there he's already attacking the rocks, so this is very important for the reasons that we mentioned earlier. If you attack those rocks that early, then you have definitely the option of defending the third base, so I really like that he's putting a lot of effort into destroying the blockage between the second and third.
You know, I
really like it.
I like that too. I still find it really weird that he showed the probe to check for the base of the natural. Of course it's going to be a base of the natural. What? Like, how? What do you do? Like, it's silly to expect any sort of crazy all-in coming from the base at the top left, the third base location. That would be really weird. Now, oh, that's actually not a tight wall. I thought it was a tight wall at the Protoss player's base. It's like so tight, but it's not quite tight. I was thinking he wasn't going to be able to send out any other probes if he lost that probe. I was like, well, I guess you just sacrificed your ability to pressure, but I'm wrong after all. Robo going down here very quickly, though. It's not going to be Zealot pressure.
+1 is now halfway done, and, well, Inca certainly has to pull out something against his opponent. We've seen a lot of pressure play with Immortals lately, but on this map, especially on cross position, the distances between the two bases are just so huge. So whatever Inca is going to do, MVP should be able to prepare for it in time. I feel like Monster is in a pretty good shape right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a lair on the way now. 11 drones. It'll put him at a total of 53 to 44, so he'll take a pretty heavy lead with that.
But
now,
I still have to say that Inca is doing a really good job with his chrono boost. I mean,
we're gonna see a warp prism timing attack here. Not the most common of timings for this map. Definitely something that can catch people off guard, though, especially on Metropolis. Metropolis is the map where your third base is so cut off, but on this map, the third base is cut off until you destroy the rocks, but the rocks are gone. He even was able to scout the rocks being destroyed, so I'm a little bit surprised at this choice.
Do you think that he can do a lot of damage with this? We have the Roach Wall now building, we have a huge amount of Harvester, 67 against 52, although Inca kind of keeps up with his Harvester production. Well, the only thing that is a little bit, well, working in not in favor of MVP Monster is that he has a very, very late speed for his Zergling. But he's going now for the Spire as soon as he hits his lair attack. He has a nice creep spread between all three bases. He doesn't have Overlords in a position to the right side of the map.
Yeah, he's actually not going to see this coming at all. But will it really accomplish anything? I don't think so. It's an empty Warp Prism. He's actually just going to show his hand here, then have to leave shortly after warping in units if he does at all. This is a really weird tactic. Even perhaps weirder was the fact that he pulled drones off gas to chase a Warp Prism. That was really weird. I like this, denying the third base, even if just for a second.
And the third base is one of the reasons why usually Zerg players don't like to play on Entombed Valley against Protoss, because as Protoss player you are in a position where you can take the third without a problem at all, and a three-base Protoss player is just so strong. So that's definitely something that is going in favor for Vines, but at the same time this Warp Prism is really odd. I think it just tries to pin his opponent in the main base a little bit. Showing the Warp Prism, trying to, for once, scout a little bit, and then force him just to retreat, because there is the potential threat of units being warped in.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good scout, and you're exactly right. He did keep his opponent in his main. He hasn't moved out pressure at all at the third base. This allows the three gateways to be made to form a wall off. So it did kind of give him time to set up. I think that Monster has realized this now. He's like, oh, I get it. And now he's going to try to attack, but it's a little bit too late. There's too many sentries in position. That's a lot of Zerglings. In fact, the total Zergling count is 46. Worker count 76 to 68 at this point. There are 14 Mulas out, and again, the Stalker count quite low at only 4 Stalkers right now.
Fourth base now being built for Monster, and he's going for the upgrades, +1 attack for Zerglings and Mulalists. And here they come, but he can't really attack into those three bases.
Sentry goes down, second sentry goes down at the cost of 2 Mutas.
And he can still use the Guardian Shield, so he's trying to sneak in at the back, and wow, this will actually kill a couple of probes, not too many though, as there is one cannon in the mineral line, which I like a lot.
Yeah, and with Blink finishing up here, the Stalker count getting higher, Vines holds quite nicely.
He needs to tech right now. He can't rely on Linger Mutalist for the entire length of the game, because on 3 bases the Protoss is in a position where he can defend quite well, and he can max out his army. He will be able to get to 200 supply, and if you don't have the tech, then you're in a huge problem as a third player. And there's the Infestation Pit. He's already getting the Infestation Pit so that he can tech to Hive, that he can get the Brood Lords. And this is going to be a very long game, and an interesting one at that.
Yeah, I'm looking through here. With the Infestation Pit finishing up, the Protoss is still stuck on third base, 3 bases, but he's just got such a strong hold with those 3 bases. On this map, especially, with +3 on the way, his opponent's upgrades are going, but they're so late. He's going to be able to build up that strong maxed out army, perhaps get a mothership even, and control the game. I think the Protoss, even though he's down like 40 supply, 50 supply right now, is absolutely ahead.
Yeah, you can't attack, that's the problem. You can't attack into this defense, so MVP has to take MVP Monster has to take 1 base after another. He's on 4 now, he should take a 5th. He's going for the Hive right now, and well, he needs certainly not only a very, very huge bank in regards to his resources, but a decent creep spread and on bases.
Oh, he's going for the Forge, that's so smart. Oh wow, that was actually a genius move. Oh my god, that's the one thing that's really going to give him an opportunity to re-grasp this game, because that +3 upgrade would put his opponent way ahead, and now he's not going to have that anymore. He just will not have it.
Exactly, his upgrades will be so delayed. We now have double Forge being built, and there's the Stargate. He's going for the Stargate so that he can start with the Mothership right away. And this is exactly what he needs, because MVP Monster is halfway done with the Hive Tech right now. He will start Greater Spire as soon as it's done. And still the Mutalist just harassing everywhere.
Yeah, you're actually trying to just force units in different locations. He's able to target down cannons, target down that Forge. I'm still just so amazed by that choice. Most people would not commit to that, but he just did it, even had his Zerglings targeting the Forge.
I like it as well. He is definitely making sure that those upgrades will be quite delayed. The Warp Prism still going strong. At the same time, we have a 5th base now being built. The creep spread is looking very good. Reached already the Xanaga Watchtower in the middle of the map. And, well, there's the fleet beacon for you.
Indeed it is. I think we all know what that means. Some infestors are coming into play here.
We will see the range upgrade. Probably not.
Like, no Caldor, we're going to see Graviton Catapult. 158 to 197 supply right now, as look at the bank of our Protoss.
I hate this. I don't like this decision at all. I've been talking about this a ton of times. We have the Ultralist Kevin.
Yeah, it's not what I expected to see myself.
The problem is the Protoss player, and we've seen this countless of times, and Ultralists can work on this map. It's not like they're completely useless, but the problem is that the Protoss is now pushing out, taking the 4th. This is what happens every single game when the Protoss is on 3 base, they try to take the 4th. So here comes the attack, Monster's trying to prevent it, and he might be able to pull it off.
This base is so vulnerable. Oh, he doesn't cancel. The cannons do remain alive, well, some of them. A nice trade for our Zerg. No cancel on 2 cannons and the Nexus, all of which went down.
Delaying the 4th a bit. But to finish my train of thought, if you go Ultralists on this map, your goal is usually to take down a 4th, and he is attacking again from the other side. Nice storms this time. And this is hurting a lot.
Sick.
And MVP Monster is dropping in supply.
+3 is now going to finish for our Protoss player, as +2 ground armor is on the way. Something to mention about the Ultralists, though, is they do, to a certain extent, nullify Vortex. If you have Ultralists inside of a Vortex, it's not exactly ideal for the Protoss at times.
But the problem is, even though Ultralists are killing the force fields now, enabling him to attack in there, with all the upgrades that we already have for our Protoss player, if he's attacking the 4th with the Ultralists, they will just clump up, and then you can just focus them down with the Stalkers one by one. Stalkers deal extra damage to Ultralists. You have to have the perfect bundles.
Oh no, this Archon doing some serious damage, and the Storm as well. Whoa! Oh man, that was a terrible trade for our Zerg player. Oh,
he's on 200 supply once again, though.
Yeah, actually, it looks like his economy is so good that he's able to do this. He's about to have that chitinous plating and +2 carapace for his Ultralists. +1 air weapons on the way.
And a second Stargate.
Carrier production has started. 2 carriers on the way.
What did you say about the catapult?
I told you, man. There it is, being researched right now.
You're so right. Oh, the mothership! No! Nice stop! And it survives. Wow. It actually survives. He saves the mothership with a beautiful storm. Very, very well done. That's brilliant by Inca here.
Yeah, it was, absolutely. And a really nice trade he was able to get with that. Had to storm some of his own Stalkers, but it's well worth it. The Spine Crawler production has started, though, and this is the middle of the late game, I guess you could say, on this map, is when you have the Spine Crawler push that slowly starts getting scarier and scarier. He's going to try to get this Nexus here. The Storms aren't going to be very useful, and the Mothership, barely with enough energy for a Vortex. Will he use it?
Yeah, and look at the Ultralists, how they already block each other. This is exactly what I was referring to earlier.
Yeah, it's so difficult to use them, especially attacking that location.
You can't be aggressive with the Ultralists on this map, I feel. You have to wait until your opponent moves into the middle of the map, and suddenly you have all this space where you can flank, where you can try to get the Fundals, and if you flank your opponent with Ultralists, then you can completely annihilate its army. But in this position, it's just weird.
I'm a little bit surprised that he's going to show the carriers now. I would like to see him go up to about 6 to 8 before showing. At the very least 4. Because now he's going to show the carriers. His opponent's just going to stop making Ultras and then switch into Corruptors like the other option.
He's adding now, 2 additional Stargates, by the way.
Yeah, he really wants to commit to these carriers. Unfortunately for those Ultras there, they can't join the Vortex, but they can't really retreat too far either.
And
here we go, Storms.
There they are. First Ultralisks are going to die. Another nice storm. And he is not producing any anti-air. Nothing.
No, he's not. He's absolutely not. You're exactly right. He's got the gas to do so, but he's not doing it. He's making more Ultras. He's getting more Banelings right now. He's about to have +3 for those Ultras and Banelings. And more Stargates being added. He already has +1 for the Void Rays. Rather than getting +3 ground armor, he's getting +1 shields
to get the mothership. But Wolf, I have to say, this how
you know what the carriers are for, man? It's for the spine crawlers, and I really like this choice. The Infestor's not going to do that well against carriers either. A good fumble though on these Stalkers.
And here we go, mass storms and nice damage dealt by not only the carriers but also all those Stalkers. Does he have enough though? He needs to target fire the Ultralisks.
Yeah, this is the carrier count is just not quite high enough. It doesn't look like. The Zealots, though, are doing quite well. Zealots, obviously, because their light units do decently against Ultralisks.
He needs to target fire. He's not target firing anything. He is damaging all of them, but he's not killing any of the Ultralisks. What is he doing?
I don't know, but it looks like he's going to lose his Nexus.
And now he doesn't have any income anymore.
Carriers, I feel, are going to be removed from the Heart of the Swarm. This is actually like really sad to watch. I'm like watching carriers never kill Ultralisks that are heavily upgraded.
Yeah, but
by the way, a huge run by into the main with Adrenal Glands, +3 on these Zerglings as well. And I mean, he loses 2 Nexi, but the trade here is okay because he still has no anti-air. The carrier count is up to 6 now. He doesn't have very much money to afford interceptors anymore, though. He's going to have to turtle a little bit. He's getting +1 armor now for his carriers. That will affect the interceptors as well. But the economy of our Zerg player is still much higher. He has no ability to pressure whatsoever. +3 flyer weapons is on the way and 8 corruptors on the way. That'll put him at a total of 17 corruptors, and I think that will be the nail in the coffin for our Protoss.
I still can't figure out why he did not even try to target fire the Ultralisks. Those Ultralisks killed his 4th base, they killed his 5th base, and he damaged every single one of them and never target fired single ones. There were Ultralisks down to 100 or 50 hit points for the entire length of the attack. And you could have just target fired them so easily, especially after all those storms went off. So a little bit of a misstep there. And you're right, I mean, Monster has such a nice economy that he can just throw army after army against Inca. And 27,000 resources lost for Zerg and OGS Inca with 22,000 lost. But still, I don't think that... Well, I'm not quite sure if the carriers are actually really the best choice that he could have for the best solution. And at the same time, if he goes for carriers, he needs to have a better unit control.
Yeah, I actually think carriers are not... I am very certain carriers are not the proper choice here. I think you want the carriers not for the Ultralisks, but for the spines that he was going to have to eventually go through. But now, can he hold this position? Well, with a Vortex like that, I think so.
Wow, that was perfect timing.
Terrible by our Zerg player. I cannot believe he decided to just commit to that. Now the... Oh, what? Oh my god, a lot of probes in there, though. Oh, wow, 6 save. The Ultralisks popping out the Archons, doing a ton of damage to the Corruptors. And that is what he needs. He's going to lose the mothership, but he still remains alive with his carriers.
Very well done. And look how many Corruptors he killed. This was beautiful.
Yeah, now he's got a timing to push out and start whittling away at the creep and those spines. He needs to go now.
And he does not. He doesn't. Tries to save this base. He is way too passive now, getting the +3 attack upgrade. But those vortexes were brilliant. They were so beautiful. The first one, right when Monster was just attacking, and he ran everything in there. This time was just perfect.
Yeah, it was really nice. And the second one, I feel, was so unpredictable. He did it on top of the Nexus. It basically only affected air units. Only the edge was catching the mining probes. I don't think it was a location that Monster predicted there would be a vortex.
But just look at the income. We have 2,000 minerals per minute and against 1,000 in favor of Monster. And Well, he does not attack. He could have attacked and tried to carry the momentum of his win of the one battle into his opponent's bases, take down a base or two. But he is way too passive. He's just waiting there and taking punch after punch after punch. And even though he has a nice defense and is able to sometimes win the fight, he will lose the war.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's gone for this carrier composition that I just do not agree with. Banelings against Archons and High Templar. We'll see how that goes. He does get one of the Templar. Some Neural Parasites on the carriers, but they don't last very long. Storm's hitting all the Corruptors, but they're lasting too long. The carriers are falling here. But look at the supply now.
Wow, this is insane. He killed every single
He cannot wait this time. If he waits this time,
now.
He needs to. He's lost so many of his carriers. He's going to wait. And Kaldor, I think this is going to end up to be the worst decision. He's going to watch. He's going to look back and watch this and be like, well, I can't believe I didn't do that.
Actually, he's now on 5 bases again. 2 mining. But how many harvesters? 89 harvesters for Monster, 53 for Inca. This game is a little bit insane right now.
Well, he just does not
really
have
insane.
His Archon count is what's getting high. He's got 9 Archons, but his carrier count is now so low. He has no way to deal with the spines in the middle of the map. He's got spores to deal with there as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, look at the reaction of Monster. Monster is building 13 Corruptors right now. He already has 15. He will be on 28 Corruptors. He doesn't have anything else. He doesn't have a Greater Spire as far as I know. He can't transition into anything else.
He should be making a Greater Spire. That's actually something that slipped my mind.
He should have done it ages ago, but I don't think he has one.
You're right. He has
I might be wrong.
No, you're right. He has no Greater Spire, and because that is the transition point. Like, he just kills all the carriers, moves back, and then makes Broodlords and sieges up the Archons and takes control of the game with spines, spores, and everything.
Look at his army. He does not have anything that can defeat ground. He has 30...
well, the reason why I feel is because Vine's just not attacking by ground, and he's not even thinking about it. He's not once considered moving out.
Do you think that Monster didn't realize that he doesn't have Greater Spire?
It's potentially possible. He continues to upgrade his units. He got +3, and now he's getting +2 Carapace. So I feel like he knows. He's just not. It's not the biggest concern for him at this moment, I guess. Interestingly enough, the rocks are being destroyed.
What I really like, by the way, is that he's always using the changelings in order to make sure that those overseers don't have the energy to be feedback to death.
Here we go. Those Corruptors have to be so careful. That was a really bold move there. There are some Infestors in the mix here. Only 3. He's going to want to Neural. If he can Neural the Mothership, then the game will end, basically.
He definitely... I think he forgot that, hey, he doesn't have a Greater Spire. That's the only explanation that I can up with, because he is now getting more and more Corruptors, and he has way too many of them.
We see some storms. Yes, we will. The Mothership gets targeted. He accidentally feedbacked his own Mothership. That was a mistake. And the trade goes on. The Archon count's still out of control.
Really? Zerglings? He's building Zerglings against 10 Archons?
I guess so. I'm like watching on the production tab. I'm like, no, that can't be right.
And finally the Greater Spire.
Okay, there it is. He's going to use these Zerglings and the Spines to buy enough time for the Greater Spire. It's something he's committing a lot of resources to in the future.
Yes, to do some run-bys with these Zerglings. That's the only reason why you would build Zerglings.
Some Investors actually are getting caught on the side of the map, by the way. He's going to lose... Well, what am I watching on my screen? Okay.
The only reason why you would build Zerglings is to just go for run-bys, because he certainly look at his income. He has 1,800 gas. He has the gas. 4,500 minerals as well. As soon as the Greater Spire is done, he can finally go to the Broodlord composition that we talked about the entire game.
Yeah, well, he wants to use the Zerglings to make sure that there's no base over at like the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock bases that are the next logical step for Vines. Look at Vines' supply-wise, he's way ahead of his opponent, and his economy is still decent. He's continuing to produce carriers here, and for that reason, this Broodlord transition is going to be hard to swallow. I feel he's going to be like, oh, I went Broodlords because I thought you stopped carrier production, but it turns out now you still have a lot of carriers.
He has the resources to go for the Corruptors as well, and this is what he does. He's going for 6 additional Corruptors. He already has 11 Broodlords on the way, And if he splits his army and doesn't cluster up so that the mothership can vortex him, he should be fine. The thing is that the mothership is only halfway done, so it will take quite a while before it is out, and then a lot longer before it actually has the 100 energy for the vortex itself. So I kind of like the transition for Monster now. And those two players, they are at 200 supply now. This game is already 35 minutes long, and it is getting insane.
It's going to get a little bit longer. Notice at the bottom right, there's a huge wall of cannons set up so that he can take a Nexus there. He even made a High Templar so he can storm any Zerglings and try to run up against that many cannons. We're going to see some Changeling Massacre here. It's the
achievement
it's
right
the
there.
Texas Changeling Massacre.
That has to be the best pun ever. And here come the attack with the Broodlords. Where are the Corruptors to take down the mothership?
They're lagging a little bit behind. He does take out the Observer with those Corruptors. Now they're coming in here, and it looks like he will get a carrier. The mothership remains alive, though. Storms going off on some Broodlords.
This is an insane engagement. This is crazy, and most of the Corruptors are already dead and gone. He doesn't have any Corruptors.
No, he does not. See, this is my concern with this Broodlord transition. He made too many.
What is the reaction if you lose your anti-air? Yes, you're right, you build Zerglings.
And some Ultralists as well. Against this many carriers and Archons, I'm not sure about the Ultralist Zergling transition here. A few more Corruptors being made. He does not have any gas. He's making Zerglings because he has no gas. He can't afford to reproduce. I feel like he made way too many Broodlords. We've seen this problem time and time again. Players commit too many to Broodlords. You only need 4 to 10 Broodlords max. You don't need 14 Broodlords to push a Nexus like that. If you do, you don't have the Corruptors to push everything else back. His Infestors weren't able to engage either with the way he approached. He couldn't use Neural, he couldn't use Fungal.
Even though this was a really, really weird game, let's be honest about it. The army composition that Inca has right now is kind of crazy. This guy has 10 Archons, 6 carriers, completely upgraded. The mothership, he has the High Templars for Storm. This is kind of an insane combination. This is so hard to beat.
Oh wow, look at how fast these Zerglings are going to die, Kaldor. Watch that, man.
This is so hard to beat, especially with the energy on the mothership. The combination for Inca now is kind of unbeatable, and Monster, well, his problem is he let it happen.
It's so funny how the pros have been playing this out. Inca
61,000 resources lost for Monster against 40,000. What?
That's quite the deficit. The funny thing here, I feel, is that Inca has really been trying to starve out his opponent, even though he's the one with less bases. This whole game, he's been like, alright, throw this at me, I'll kill all of it, and then I'll do it again, and again, and again. And
even though I completely disagree with MVP's choice in the middle of the game. Broodlord attacks have, in my opinion, been proven to be so much better in this game. Well, at this point, it's kind of ridiculous because we have just armies that we usually don't see. MVP Monster kind of missed his opportunity to take Inca down, and now he has a very, very hard time to defeat this army. He's probably completely clueless as to what to do. He can't afford everything, but what are you going to do against this army?
I don't think there is anything else he can do at this point. The carriers are so heavily upgraded as well. A +2 armor for air with +1 shields and +3 weapons.
Everything on the ground is is kind of.
Oh, he's gonna really commit to this one.
Yeah, trying to take down the space. That could actually work. Finally, taking an angle at the 6th base. But the Archons are annihilating everything on the ground. At the same time, you have the air army. You have the Vortex as well. Archon Toilet. Everything you have to watch out for.
This is a bad engagement for a Protoss player. He's losing a lot of interceptors here.
He's even building Spore Crawlers to take down the interceptors and give him some sort of detection.
I'm not sure about this Hydralisk choice.
On the high ground, if he stays on the high ground, a Vortex is nearly... it's completely useless. He needs to make sure that the Archons can actually get into position.
No, this is a really nice move up by our third player. All this wasted interceptors.
Yeah, he's losing a ton of them right now. Still, 200 supply roughly against 200, plus 3 air armors being researched. I can't remember when I've seen this upgrade for the last time.
It's been a long time for me as well. Storm goes down on some of these Corruptors. The Archon's getting into position.
Oh,
the Mothership falls with no Vortexes.
That was well done. That was really, really well done. Immediately he rebuilds his Corruptors.
Oh wow, this is looking really bad for our Protoss player now. He's backed into a corner.
He can't escape. He can't escape at all. This might actually be the chance for Monster to end the game. 180 supply against 160. Going in with the Brood Lords. We have Hydralisks as well. Most of the Corruptors already got nice storms going off for Inca. 170 against 30. And he's losing everything. The crown is gone. All the Archons died. The Brood Lords doing an awesome job. MVP Monster. He might be able to pull it off after all. The army for OGS Inca is about to die. Most of the carriers are dead and the rest of them being taken down by the Hydralisks.
Yeah, it's
What
looking like
an
he's
insane
finally
game.
done it. Stalker's coming in here to try to help out, but the Hydras, even though they're way down in upgrades, are just doing enough damage to push these carriers back. And he will lose the Nexus, and that's what's crucial here. Even though he'll kill these Broodlords, that doesn't matter.
I don't think he's going to kill all of them though. We have a bunch of Corruptors heading their way. Are there enough of them? Another bunch of Hydralisks is joining the battle as well.
And it looks like he actually will get these carriers out of here. One of them will fall to the Hydras, though. Nice stutter stun
More than one. Ah, you should kill another one at least. Yes.
Oh, he gets it.
Nice, good job by Monster. Inca is down to 100 supply now. Oh god, this engagement, you were so right. Well, the position for him was just so bad.
He backed himself into a corner, man.
Did you see how beautiful Monster split his Corruptors to make sure that no Vortex could actually save the Mothership?
Yeah, not only that, but it helped against Storms as well. Now, attacking into this location, I feel, might be a bit overzealous. Yeah, now he's got the Broodlord support to do it. He's going to eat some serious Storms on those Hydras, though. Actually, there's very few Templar around. He may just target down the Nexus. No, he's going to go for the carriers.
Oh, I like it. He's trying to take down the carriers, but the Hydralisks are having so much trouble now. There's so many carriers left, 4 in total, getting 2 additional ones. But the base is going to die, and finally, Monster is able to starve Inca. Still on 4,000 minerals. He lacks gas, but he has so many bases. He has so many bases. And now everything is dying for Inca. Even though he clears the attack, he lost both his bases, his mining bases. No income left.
Yeah, and he's got to be very careful about engaging this many spores. His carrier count is just not what it used to be. Looks like he's going to clean up these Broodlords, but a bit of an awkward engagement actually for Monster. He doesn't need to force this. He's trying to just pick off Interceptors, I think.
He's down to 65 supply right now against 100. And the only thing that's missing for Monster is now a bit of gas. We have 3,400 minerals for him. He's getting base after base after base. And even if Inca would now push out, there are how many Spine Crawlers? Like 40? I saw him build 13 at the same time earlier. He has only 22 harvests against 63 now.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. It looks like he's got about 18 spines at the front part. There's spines at other places on the map, but that's a lot of spines. It looks like he's going to just try to target down the Mothership here again. A bit of a weird choice. Nice splitting on the Corruptors, but he won't get the Mothership. And the Air Army holds strong. He's actually taking this hatchery, but it's not going to stay.
Yeah, I feel like right now Monster could have waited a little bit longer for his next attack.
We need to see a Vortex here. He's going to lose the Mothership without any use again. Okay, there's a Vortex. Buys him a little bit of time. Oh! Barely takes out the Mothership.
He's even using the Queens now in order to attack and transfuse.
Yeah, I like that choice.
Yeah, I like it as well. He's just using everything. This game is like 50 minutes old and we have 85,000 resources lost for Monster. I think I've never seen this in my whole life. 65,000 lost for Inca. This is Sparta style.
I'm looking all around the map, and it's looking like a lot of our Zerg players' bases are starting to get mined out, and that does become an issue. Hold that thought. More carriers falling here, and Archon being more of transfuses going down on these.
Beautiful transfuses.
He just has unlimited energy, basically. Something that cannot be said the same of our carriers.
Yeah, and he is losing more of them. He needs to be careful.
When you have to pull back against Queens, man, you know something has gone wrong.
Yeah, definitely. That Nexus is going to fall. Yes, annihilated by Zerglings. There's still 2,000 minutes left. We have only 33 3 supply for Inca. Ladies and gentlemen, expect GG any seconds. This is it. This is curtains. There is no chance for Inca to come back into this. He does not. He just has enough minerals to build a Nexus, but we won't see it happening. That's just too much for MVP Monster. 20 supply against 137.
Carrier's eating some fire from these Hydras.
88,000 resources lost.
If he could have held on a little bit longer, he would have been able to win the game with his super cost-efficient unit composition. But that one engagement on the right side of the map where he lost his entire army was the last straw, I guess you could say. He's trying to hang in there
with 2 carriers. He has 2 carriers, 16 interceptors, 1 High Templar.
And 5 probes.
Ah, yeah, sorry.
I'm like, you get that, Overlord Inca. You tell that, Overlord, man. You should also tell your interceptors you're sorry that...
19 supply. Bit by bit, he's been taken apart.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I hope he doesn't make us watch his cannons die. Sorry, Inca. I wonder what Twitter's saying now.
Yeah, that's perfectly right. I actually expected some kind a lot of reactions on Twitter now, and probably on TL as well. I mean, just look at Inca with 19 supply, still trying to make something out of this game. But the problem is, we still have 2 or 3 mining bases for Monster, and now Monster is fed up. He's like, oh man, I can't be bothered anymore. Now I'm going in with everything.
Well, he knows his opponent has literally no more economy. The hatchery over here will have to be cancelled, but not that anyone's really particularly caring about that at this point.
Building after building is now dying. Inca is down to 17 supply against 140. 7 additional Corruptors are being built right now, but he has already enough to take on his opponent's carriers. The 2 remaining carriers are being assaulted right now.
Oh, he's actually dancing the Corruptors to be funny.
And is he killing it? At least one of them? Nope.
He's just killing so much back at home. The Zergling's just doing everything.
And here they are, the last remaining Corruptors, and this is it. One Fungal, he's dancing with the Corruptors, and there's the GG! Wow. What a crazy, crazy game with some really weird engagements and transitions, but I think that, especially in the end, this was one of the most entertaining games I've cast in quite a while.
Yeah, I agree. Inca making one critical mistake in his big grand design. He had, like, the future planned out, man, with that build. The bases for our Zerg player were starting to be mined out, and mathematically speaking, with how the units lost, were he might have eventually been at a point where he couldn't make units, and Inca had just used all of his resources up, killing them cost efficiently time and time again. But that one wrong engagement made it so, well, hey, I killed all your carriers, or the majority of them, and your mothership, and you can't take these bases anymore. You can't rebuild your carrier army. I thought the carrier choice was weird initially, but it started working out slowly over time. He was really pushing the things back. The storms and the vortexes were on point. They were so good at certain parts of the game.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of mistakes in this game, but that's only to be expected when you have a game that lasts for 15 minutes. So it would actually be quite boring to see both of them playing completely perfect. But I have to say that especially this composition, this army composition with Archons, Carriers, High Templars and the Mothership, this is insane to beat. I mean, Monster, in my opinion, was really lucky that Inca moved into the position that you mentioned, and suddenly he was just spreading out all his Corruptors, moving in, closing in on the Mothership. And when the Mothership was gone was the possibility to get those 2 Vortex, and suddenly he could kill everything, and Inca could never move out of this position. He was completely trapped.
Yeah. He did such a great siege up with the Spores. The Spore Crawlers were always moving closer and closer to Inca. He started having a higher Spore to Spine ratio towards the end, and that really controlled the way the Interceptors could battle. Every time the Interceptors came out, 6 or 7 of them died, just the Spores alone. And that's scary. That's a position where you're trying to put your carriers, where you're trying to control that one engagement, but then you're trapped in a corner. You can't go around the side. There's Spores there. You can't go through the center. There's too many Corruptors and Infestors. So we'll see who OGS is going to bring out next. Monster on a roll right now.
I really feel that Monster at some point, he was really there he is. We have Hero.
All right, so the player we expected to see last game now coming out.
I really feel in the last game, Monster probably was thinking at first, okay, well, you have your 3, 4, 5 bases, I don't care because I have the entire map. And at some point he threw army after army against Inca and he was like, he's not dying, why is he not dying? What can I do to kill this guy? And he succeeded, and come on, let's face it, right now, Monster, he's on fire. This guy is so on fire. If you win such a game, then you have a really huge boost in confidence. And now he is up against Hero.
Hero, a much better PvZ player than Inca. Known for his PvZ, his error play he was one of the first to use the style that Genius uses now with Phoenixes a long time ago, and his Team League performance not the best. His average wins 0.33. That means, of course, only a third of the time he needs to get called out, he actually succeeds in getting wins. Wins 1 out of 3 games, to put it another way, for those people who don't understand simple math. I highly doubt there's very many of you guys out there watching StarCraft who don't know that, but maybe if you're watching with your kid, you know, maybe you're a father or something, you can be like, see what Wolf said? He said it's 33, that's 1 out of 3.
Talking about Inca against Zerg right now, we see Metropolis, and I have the feeling that that is originally what they intended to use against Domago.
Yeah. I think you're right.
We talked a little bit about it, about strategies in team battles, and I think that is exactly what they had in mind for Domago. Now they have to use it against Monster, and even if Monster loses, he made sure that this map is out of the map pool already.
Yeah,
you won't see Metropolis again as an option against Zerg, and I think Domago will be quite happy. But before we head into the next match, ladies and gentlemen, we have a quick break. We'll be back after another couple of minutes, and then we will see Hero up against Monster.